Over the past few months, I imported my dream vehicle. And in this video, I'm going to help you figure out if this is something that you could do on your own or not. I've wanted a K-Truck since before I knew that they were called K-Trucks. I just knew that when I used to be into Suzuki Samurais, I saw these online over in Japan, and I thought, why don't we have these in the United States? So that was over 20 years ago. I thought they were awesome, but I also knew that we could not get them here. Now within the past year or so, I've realized that yes, you can get them here now that they're over 25 years old. And so I really wanted a Suzuki Carry, and that's not what I got. That's not entirely true. This is a Suzuki Carry. It's just badged as an AutoZam Scrum. AutoZam is a name that Mazda used on a few K cars, and so this is actually an AutoZam Mazda Scrum, whatever you want to call it, but it's just a Suzuki Carry rebadged. I actually went out of my way to find a two-wheel drive version because all I cared about was something I could use around town and to get good fuel mileage. And though the four-wheel drive would be cool, I really didn't want it because I've got a couple four-wheel drives already, and this was just for a street vehicle. It of course is a 4-speed manual. It has 126,000 kilometers, no air conditioning. It's basically exactly what I wanted. Now to help you figure out if you want to try to buy one of these or not, I'm gonna have to go back about 5 months. Last year I started researching K-Trucks, trying to figure out which one I wanted, where I wanted to get it from, what I wanted on it, things like that. I'd heard some other people online say that they used carfromjapan.com, and so that's where I started looking. I also looked on BeForward, but those were the two that seemed the most attainable to get one of these vehicles from. All the while I was saving up money because I was going to spend money that was not family money from my paycheck, but just side money from selling bikes and doing odd jobs and things like that. So you'll realize very soon that I really cheaped out on this. I went just as low budget as I possibly could. Towards the end of October, I had all the money I needed. My budget was right around $3,500. That was the price of the vehicle, the shipping, and the stuff that comes at the end, which I'm going to tell you about. I told you I wanted a Suzuki Carry. When I found out that the AutoZam Scrum was a Suzuki Carry, seemed like there was not as many people shopping for this model, and so the prices on the Scrums were a little bit lower than the Carry. And I also wanted a round eye with the round headlights. I just think they're cute, and you know, I was being picky because this is my toy. I finally found this one, and I decided to go for it. It was a little intimidating, but I went on their page and I put purchase, and I told them to invoice me. You can purchase with a credit card or with PayPal, but it ends up charging you like an extra $200 for PayPal fees or things like that. I decided to just send them a bank transfer. I went to my bank a couple days later. I took them to bill a sale, and they were very questionable, like, why are you sending all this money to Japan? And I'll tell you the price and stuff at the end. So this was early November. I bought the vehicle, paid for it. What you pay for on the website is them putting it on a boat. You're purchasing it. They're going to send you paperwork. They're going to pay the custom stuff on their end. And after that, the boat is coming towards you with your vehicle as soon as they get it on the boat. Once the boat leaves port, they're going to send you a notice with a bill of lading, and they're going to tell you that you need to get in touch with customs, and you have to do this ISF filing. I'm not really sure what ISF is. I'm going to put that right here. But that one was really intimidating. I think if I did the ISF filing myself, it would have been maybe around $30, $45, something like that. But I could not figure out for the life of me how to do it online. I was really confused, so I got a broker to do the ISF filing for me. That just tells the United States that, hey, you've bought something that is expected into their port, so that they do their paperwork knowing that it's on the way. After you do the ISF filing, then it's just a waiting game. I used a couple different free apps online that would help me track the boat as it went around the world, leaving Japan, across the Pacific, down the coast of California, Mexico, through the Panama Canal, up Texas, around Florida, back up, because I'm on the East Coast and I had this shipped to Baltimore, the port of Baltimore, which we'll get to that in a minute. Tracking the boat is a little bit nerve-wracking because you're not always getting updates. You don't always know where it is. It always seems like it's lost at sea. And so I tried not to look too much at that when I realized that it was stressing me out. When the ship gets about 1 week from its port, the shipping company will send you their invoice. Everybody's got their hand out throughout this process. I knew that ahead of time, and that's what I'm going to clear up with you at the end. I'm going to lay out all the prices so you can see. So you go ahead and pay that invoice, and then the next thing you got to do is worry about when it comes into port and what you have to do then. I had already researched a little bit, and I knew that Customs was going to charge me a 25% tax on this vehicle because they consider it a truck, even though we know it's tiny, but it is a truck. So you're going to have to pay 25% of the purchase price of the vehicle, not the shipping and everything else. But that's when things got real hazy for me, because I'd actually talked to the broker about clearing the vehicle for me through Customs, but they didn't reach back out to me, and so I ended up doing this by myself. Now I'm about 5 hours from the port of Baltimore, but my ship finally made port sometime in March. It had been a long time, and I finally got a clear day. The ports are only open Monday through Friday, so I had to choose a day that I wasn't going to be working and drive up there to the port. This whole process felt like a house of cards to me, because in one day I had to drive up there, I had to go pay Customs, which I had to pay at BWI Airport, then I had to drive to the port where I had to find a port escort service to take me onto the port. Then we had to go in there, make sure that I hadn't missed anything there, then pick up the vehicle and drive home. I borrowed a friend's truck and trailer. I drove up north. I got to the airport. That was a little bit of a hassle trying to find where to park because I had a trailer and things like that. Nobody in the airport knew where Customs was. I finally found that. When I went down in there and I gave them all my paperwork, I mean all, I took everything. I didn't leave any paperwork at home. I had everything printed off my phone, everything. I gave them all that I had. It probably took around 20 minutes. It wasn't that bad. I didn't have to sit there with them. They took all the paperwork. They came back out. They gave me my EPA exemption for emissions. They gave me my bumper safety exemptions. They gave me my paperwork so that I could register this and drive it on the road. I thought that they were going to have like some enormous fees. I knew that I was going to have to pay that 25% tax there, but really on top of that, it was maybe an extra $10. So that was a win for me. I was very excited to do that by myself. If I'd had the broker do that, it would have been $200, $250 more to have them do that process. I'd already researched ahead of time about getting onto the port, and I knew that the Port of Baltimore only uses 2 or 3 escort services. So I'd called ahead, make sure I knew what to do with one. I brought a reflective vest because I knew I was going to have to use one, and I just borrowed one from school. That was going to save me about $5 or $10. I went to the port with the port escort. They charged $50 an hour for that port escort, and I had to go onto port. And again, nerve-wracking. I'd never been to a place like this. Everything seemed so huge, and there was processes for everything. The escort service was really cool. He got me in line. He said, this is where you need to go. You show him your paperwork. At that window, I found out that I had not paid a $16 parking fee or storage fee because I had gone over the free limit. I stepped out of line, paid that on my phone, got back in line less than 5 minutes, and then went and found this truck and put it on the trailer. All in all, the day went really well. But what happened a couple weeks before the day was the part that still gets under my skin. This is really only going to apply to the Port of Baltimore, and there's also some redemption in here. After the truck had reached the port, I knew this because I'd been tracking it on my app. I kept calling Customs to make sure the vehicle was clear, and they said, oh, we're waiting for the boat to clear, we're waiting for this to clear, whatever. Well, one day I get an email, and it was this action notice, and it said they had found seed contamination in my truck. Now, these vehicles were used for agricultural use, so of course there's going to be leaves and seeds and stuff under the seats, things like that. But Baltimore said I had seed contamination. I called them up. The notice was very scary because it said return shipment, destroy shipment, have cleaned. And I was like, how much is this going to cost me? So I called them up and I said, hey, how much is your cleaning service? I didn't tell them what the vehicle was or anything. They just said flat out $350. And like I said, they didn't even know if I had ordered a scooter or a dump truck. So $350 was just like a flat fee for cleaning. I just felt like the fee was a racket, and but it was Customs. You're not going to argue with them. I was kind of frustrated, but I went ahead and I paid that $350 fee. I reached back out to carfromjapan.com and I said, hey, I thought these vehicles were cleaned beforehand. I'm getting hit with this fee. They answered me back the next day and said, oh, we're sorry to hear about this. How much is it going to cost? I said $350. The next day they reached out to me and they said, look, we're gonna give you that money back. They said, unfortunately, of all the ports we deal with around the world, that happens more in Baltimore than any other place. But Car from Japan came through. They paid me back, even though they didn't have to. And like, I give them props for that. They're an awesome company to deal with. They kind of followed through every step of the way. And that had nothing to do with them, because there's no way they could have cleaned it so well that you couldn't actually find something. Is there seed contamination in the truck? Probably. But here's the thing. When I got the truck off of port, there's still leaf stuff. Even after the cleaning, there's stuff in here that just shows me that they really didn't clean it, that's just a complete racket. So just know, if you're going to use the Port of Baltimore, they're probably going to hit you with a cleaning fee unless you've sent them something brand new. So from October of last year until April of this year, it was a stressful process. I was always afraid I was going to do something wrong, but I kept researching the whole time, and I feel like in the end it really paid off for me. I'm a pretty patient guy. I was fine with waiting, and the waiting allowed me to do something else that I'll tell you about in a minute. Based on what I paid and the prices that I see of trucks that are already over here and registered, I saved more than half, and that's big. So if you're interested in the numbers, I'm going to try to share those with you right now. When I bought the vehicle plus shipping was $2,579. Only $1,200 of that was the vehicle, the rest was shipping. I paid a $25 money transfer from the bank to have the money sent over there. Compared to the $200 fee for PayPal or credit card, I think that's the better way to go. When I had the broker do my ISF filing, that cost me $140. Hogue Autoliners, their invoice was $177.65. That was for, I don't know, whatever a boat charges. I paid them also by a bank transfer, which cost an extra $10. When I went to customs, remember I told you the vehicle was $1,200, so the 25% tax was $300. I left customs at $310.68. We can't forget that $350 seed contamination cleaning, but I got paid back, so I don't include that in my total. Also, there was that $16 storage fee at the port. So all told, without the cleaning fee, I came in at $3,251.01. Now, a couple days later, when I brought it home, I went to the DMV and I got it registered. And that was just like any other vehicle from a dealer, so I had to pay a tax because it was a dealer, blah, blah, blah. That was less than $230. So all told, I actually came in almost perfectly at that $3,500 mark. There's no other fees. I get tired of hearing people talking about all these hidden fees that you don't know about. That's all the hidden fees. I've told you everything. There's nothing more. Now, if you don't live near a port and you can't get it yourself, it's going to cost you more. But I don't know how much it would cost to transport a vehicle. I just know that if you check the prices of these vehicles that are already here and registered, they're starting over $6,000 and going up, up, up. Now, if you have that kind of money and you want to spend it just to buy your truck and skip all the hassle, then I'm happy for you. I didn't have that luxury. I wanted to do this cheap, and I wanted to find out what it was about. Now that I know, I might buy another one in the future. Maybe not a truck, maybe a van. My son really wants a little K car. You know, I don't know. We'll find out as time comes. At least I know what to expect. So what do you do while you're waiting 3 to 5 months for your vehicle to get here to the United States? Well, you do a lot of research and you spend even more money. Some of this stuff is needed for maintenance and things like that. Other stuff I just wanted. So if you want to see me put this stuff on the vehicle, if you got any questions, list them in the comments below. I am going to be doing videos installing some of this stuff, and hopefully you're going to see this K-Truck grow into really what I want it to be. So thanks for following along. If you have any questions, again, put them in the comments, and I'd love it if you consider subscribing. Thanks a lot.